As you know, the World Trade Organization is considered to be the global forum for regulation of global trade. We, as a group of nations, African, Caribbean, and Pacific, pretty much constitute what we would call the countries of the South, the developing countries within the global family. And as we seek to better participate in world trade, we as members of the WTO see it as a mechanism to regulate, to set the rules, and effectively serve to protect our capacity and our interest in participating. So in other words, as we seek to establish globally trade rules and practices, it is important that we as a group come together within the broader family of the World Trade Organization to ensure that our best interests are protected as far as trade is concerned. Trade, among other things, is one of the routes to development. It is a contributor to our respective national development strategies and stages as well. So it is necessary then that we are active, that we have our voices heard, that we effectively contribute to the shaping and the charting of the rules, the procedures, and the ultimate outcomes of the efforts of the World Trade Organization. I think what we really are concerned about is the whole question of development. For us, any effort to negotiate the rules of trade have to recognize that the membership of the ACP, we are all developing countries. We are faced with the need to build capacity to trade effectively in the global trading system. We need to identify strategies that will allow us to do that. But before we even get to talking about strategies for facilitating development, there has to be a fundamental recognition that there has to be provision for some flexibilities given the characteristics of our respective countries. For example, we talk about special and differential treatment. That is simply recognizing that there are asymmetries, there are the differences between the developed world and the developing world, or small vulnerable economies and large established economies. And so I think that is part of the need to remind the membership of the WTO that we have special needs which have to be accommodated. And if we are not accommodated, the reality is we are not in a position to realize our greatest potential to trade. And at the end of the day, our major trading partners are those countries who benefit substantially. We, in most instances, import substantially more than we export. We consume much of the goods and services that we do consume are imported from the countries with whom we are seeking to build a just and fair trading system. Now, I think there are a number of factors, and I am not even sure that I can give you a full and comprehensive answer to that. But if we look first of all at our membership base, the WTO has a cross-section of members representing the entire spectrum of nations. Small, medium, large, developed, developing, wealthy, poor. And so you're talking about an agenda, a trade agenda, which is intended to regulate all members. Each member, or in the case of the ACP, a group of members, we come to the table with a different set of agendas. We are struggling to find common ground, which would allow us at the end of the day to agree to a range of rules, procedures, etc., that will allow all countries a fair chance of effecting successful international trade. And so it is a very complex process, and it becomes more so when positions become entrenched. No, I have a difficulty with turning the page unless we have read the previous page, unless we have been able to write on that page. I am using the analogy that you use, in the reference to a page, because at the end of the day, it is unfinished. And my question is, if we turn the page, to what are we turning? My challenge to the membership really is to look to see what we have left undone and how we can address what has been left undone, to determine how we go forward. It may mean modifying some things, eliminating some things, but we simply cannot turn the page unless we adequately address what is in fact unfinished. It is absolutely essential that we stand together. Many of our countries have a common history in terms of our former colonial past that has pretty much shaped the structural makeup of our economies, and so the challenges of development we share in common. The solutions, I believe, that we ought to find in common. As we work, it is easier to achieve the level of successes that we desire if we collaborate and work as a group. There's strength in numbers. That's not only a cliche sounding kind of phrase, but the very fact that we share very similar circumstances, similar challenges, common vulnerabilities. We're in a situation where individually the efforts that we make would not translate into the kind of results that they would if we work collectively. And so for us, the question basically is why collaborate? Because there's strength in numbers, as I said. There's the need to pool our resources, which are limited. And really and truly, we are negotiating within the context of the WTO with significant world powers. And I think that is also a critical issue to recognize, that our voices, when heard collectively, are probably better heard.
Mm-hmm.